Let us ask ourselves, who is more astute, who is more upright than him? Who can say that I am better than Babukar Sware? Who can say that Babukar Sware has...
Madam Speaker,
point of order. Point of order.
Madam Speaker, point of order.
Yeah, I'm writing on a point of order.
Yes, please,
Madam Speaker,
please.
I am here to defend what
Madam Speaker, point of order, please.
representation.
Please. Honorable members, calm down. Please, Your Excellency, can you put your microphone down? Your mic, please, off.
It's
yes,
on.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Your mic.
It's on. Is it on? It's on now.
Can you put it off, please?
You want me to put it off?
Honorable members, let's just take it easy. Take it easy. I understand. I cannot raise a point of order. I know. Honorable member for Upper Salon.
Yes, thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I'm writing on a point of order. Is okay? Yeah, I'm writing on a point of order using our standing orders, clause 137. Clause 137, if I may read, says, any act or omission which obstructs or impedes the National Assembly in the performance of its functions, or which obstructs or impedes any member or officer of the Assembly, the discharge of his or her duties, or affronts the dignity of the National Assembly, shall be a contempt of the National Assembly, and in addition to any liability in respect therefore under the criminal law. Honorable Speaker, the National Assembly has not taken a position yet. We debated, we have not taken a position yet. What that means is we have not said yes to Mr. Sware, or we have not said no to Mr. Sware. So for the Vice President to impute that we are saying no and asking who's better qualified than him, I think that's out of order. Thank you.
Another point of order, please.
I think the issue has been raised. Everybody will take note of that. Let us proceed, please. Let's allow Her Excellency. Of course, I'm sure.
Thank you very much, Madam President.
She's taken note of what has been observed.
I have taken note of everything, and the records are there. So let us work with integrity and dignity in this aspect. In my introduction, I said we are not here for anything but for the nation. And therefore, whatever we do should be in the best interest of the nation. And I am responding accordingly to what issues that have been raised that I feel are necessary to put the record straight. I want to disagree with you that you have not taken a stance, because they said, I have noted that and I think it will be clearly spelled out over there. So let us work with dignity and integrity. I am not here to cite anything. I'm here to represent the state on behalf of His Excellency and the people of the Gambia. So I at least recognize that respect should be accorded to me. I'm standing on very firm footing, not for any political party, but for the Gambia and the responsibility given to His Excellency the President. So please, I have made that very clear from the word go. Looking at the whole issue.
Excellency, just probably a matter of procedure. You understand that the report was laid and it was debated too. And I think what the honorable member is alluding to is the fact that a decision has not yet been taken on the report, whether to agree or not to agree. They have made their observations, but we've not yet taken a vote on that. So I think that's one of the points.
So I am here to represent and defend those issues that are raised. I don't want to influence our minds, but just to put things as they come. Now, the competencies, you talked about the competencies of Office of Ombudsman. And some of you suggested that you have a person with labor-related matters should be considered. Some of you talked about to appoint a trained judge who is savvy, and from the Supreme Court level, a judge or a legal practitioner, legally minded practitioner. A person who speaks the truth to power. And it should be one who can arbiter and can give mature judgment. And one who is 100% apolitical and not to display his political allegiance to the public with integrity. To the people who are, to the people who are ready to, those who is ready to serve with integrity, unbiased, straightforward, and not aligned with powers that be. That's what you said. It is captured. I am not picking anything put here. I have no personal interest. I'm a Gambian like you, and I have to do what I'm supposed to do in this position. Now, when you are here to deal with matters of state, matters of office, we should not be judgmental. And this has been called upon, this has been something that was brought in and observed. We should not be judgmental. We should look at the issue at hand, look at your remit in terms of what needs to be done as a committee, and deliberate on that. That is your right, absolute right. What is the purpose of having institutions and bodies? Is to let them do that. And that's why when the president took the due process, he sent the letter here, I came and I presented the motion, and you brought in standing order, I think 112 point something, if I get it right, and it was absolutely in order. You were given the opportunity to look at it, and I am also called to come and listen and hear. I also have this duty to respond for us to see how we're going to move this thing forward. It's not about me, it's not about the president, it's about the country, like all of you have said. Now, we should not be judgmental, and I think if we get out of the judgmental dimension, you will all understand that Babukar Sware has all the credentials that are necessary for him to be considered, given the fact that the responsibility and the functions of the ombudsman goes beyond what some of us are thinking is broader. And I'm happy that it has been clearly articulated by all of you, and we all begin to see how this diversity and the diverse responsibilities that the administrator is going to have would require having good managerial skills, administrative skills, which he has for the last 30 years. He's been working on matters of administration. He's taught as a teacher, he's got all the credentials as a teacher, and started from the bottom of the rungs. So it's not a question of somebody coming in, having everything rosy and then come out. He started, read his CV very closely, from the grass, personally, to where in his own efforts to upgrade himself to a master's degree, to all the other certificates that add up to his administrative experience, to be able to run anything in this country. He has all the necessary qualification, all the necessary expertise and experience to be an administrator. And he has done it and has proven himself without doubts. The next step I wanted to talk about is the scrutiny. We must all be ready to go through scrutiny. It is essential, it's absolutely necessary. If we don't do it, we won't be able to move the Gambia, because the Gambia was already gone. So the only way we can improve the situation coming out of the context that we were, we need to do proper screening, proper scrutiny, so that we get the best of everything we are doing in order to move, and also to find out things that we do that might be hampering that progress. It is your right, and it is our right also, as an executive, to do that. And that was done. I want to assure you. It is one of the greatest appointments, indeed. It is a big appointment. It's a big responsibility. Very big responsibility. Looking at what is the functions, looking at what is expected, and what we have inherited in terms of violence, in terms of abuse, in terms of failed institutions, in terms of all the things that it takes for all of us to have agreed to come together to effect the change from a dictatorship to a democracy. It's a Herculean task. No one person can do it, and therefore you need somebody who can say, is this done? Can we do this? Shall we do this? Can this group do? Can this do that? And that is what we are looking for. It is not that when he becomes the ombudsman, he'll be appearing in court, sitting there. We have to understand the administrative procedures. He will be represented, but he will be the lead in any management system in our institution. When the director when they write, everybody writes on behalf of the director. Sometimes it is delegated powers or responsibilities. Sometimes the director, him or herself, would make sure that he or she appends her signature. Most of the time, it's delegated responsibility. So I want you to understand that it is not that this person is going to stand there and defend every right. He is going to put together all the human, the financial, and all other resources together that is going to make the work effective for those that are specialists in the field, those who have responsibility in taking their duties, to be able to do their work effectively. It's effectivity, delivering on time, meeting targets, engaging the people who are supposed to do it, but he is not going to do it. Whoever is there who told you that I'm going to do it, it's not so. Your leadership quality and your style is what makes the institution runs, following in the classical and innovative approaches that management requires to move the country forward. So when it comes to credentials, he is okay. When it comes to ethics and his morals, we don't have anything against him. As I said earlier, everybody has the right to belong to wherever you are. But when it comes to, to serving the nation, it's the interests of the people that matter. And the institutions are there to do the checks and balances. You are here. What happened? The president made the appointment and you are now doing the taking your responsibility. So these are some of the things that we have to understand. Let us not be emotional. Let us not feel that we are doing it for somebody else. We are doing it for our country. I am standing here before you, me and God, for my country, representing His Excellency the President, for giving me the responsibility to represent him. In every leadership, in every management, you must have that responsibility devolved on the people. You are the representative of the people. You are the representative of the people. And you are here to look at what is in the best interest of your country. The country is entrusted with His Excellency at this moment. So therefore, the powers that the Constitution gives him, he has to go by them, and he has acted accordingly. I think you all know about that. He's done it very well. Let us put the country forward. Now, that's what I want to say in that interest. There were so many things that were said. It's high time we review the Constitution and revisit the various acts and then change this and that and that. A lot of is being said. Right now, remember we are in a reform process. We are building the pillars of democracy. We are doing a lot of things. You have a lot of things going on now. You all know that. Reforms are going in almost everything in the laws, the Constitution, in the TRRC, you have the Land Commission, you have policies that are being revisited, acts are being revisited. Part of the responsibility of the Ombudsman, maybe when he or she comes, is going to be something that is going to involve a lot of reforms within the institution. It is not because those who were there before were not good. I know them, you all know them, they are seasoned, they have their certificate, they have their degrees, they have everything it takes to stand in any institution. But if the governance environment is not enabling, it even happened to you, the people in NAMS here. You cannot pass things that were your rights. So much more institutions where you can be hired and fired at any time, or a cleaner will be at the bottom looking at you to report over you. You all know that. We all come from that situation, and we must recognize those situations. When people come with ideas, I don't care who is educated, I don't care who has PhD, that's what they used to say. I don't care a National Assembly member. We have had a lot of things here. So we must be guided by those issues and see ourselves in unity of purpose and direction to move our country forward. And these reforms are fundamental, very fundamental to the Gambia if we want to move this country forward. This is what exactly His Excellency is doing now with the executive, with the legislature, and the judiciary. But we must follow due processes. We must follow due diligences. We must follow procedures, and that is what we are doing. But if we are all coming now, when we come, we cannot do it alone. You cannot do it alone, neither can the judiciary do it alone. We need to support each other. We need to support each other, both internally first and then externally. That's why we call for technical assistance. The Office of the Ombudsman cannot work outside that. And likewise, any other. We in the National Assembly cannot work without technical assistance. We also cannot work without technical assistance, depending on the nature. You talked about involvement of you, but we must remember that we have to recognize the fact that these things have to be systematic. They have to be procedural and be able to be implemented.